I just had the urge to do a performance piece, but I couldn't find the right moment. But when I arrived to Shibuya area where hundreds of thousands of people are going and coming, I was so overwhelmed. The energy that I accumulated in my body was just overwhelmed, and I had to stop. I had to stand there and completely planted myself there. And that was the moment that I realized the meaning of walking, and I thought, this is it. This is what I would do. The whole process and evolution of my work has been from materiality to immateriality, from doing to non-doing, and from making to non-making. Nowadays, I mostly try to respond to the questions, the space and time, and try to answer my best, show the nature of it as it is. As I started as a painter, and I still keep my identity as a painter. All the evolution and experiments I've been doing has been based on that question as a painter, and also the question on the surface of the canvas. But it expanded its boundaries and depth and the notions of those areas, also about the self and others, and also about the society and the world we live in, searching for humanity while trying to find the answer on existential questions. I've been grown up for some years in my childhood and around the border, Korean border between the north and south, due to my father's occupation. My father was in military service, and we've been also living quite some time in the northern part of Korea, where near the borderline. That period and that places were quite sometimes dangerous. There were some casualties happening, some mine explodes, and some kids are hurt. And so I think it affected me a lot. Maybe I didn't realize until recent years, but maybe that is also one reason that I'm so conscious about the borders and borderlines. And that was connected to my practice as a painter, and also the question on the canvas. And also those created my question of duality also, in a way. Not only the, Asian and, the Confucianist or Asian philosophy, but also my reality as a child. I was very conscious about it, probably. Botari is a bundle in Korean. It's kind of a universal object, I think. We don't use much in contemporary society, but I think it still exists, and it has its function. So that's what I use as one of the major components of my practice, because it holds many different components of life and also in my art. But then this evolved into making botari, which I think it's three-dimensional sewing as well. But this three-dimensional sewing has many components in it, I discover, as I see it also daily life object, but at the same time it is two-dimensional painting as well as three-dimensional sculpture, and also it has performative elements in it. And it has also boundary, interior and exterior, and also it's the least belonging we carry when we have a certain kind of emergency. In Korea also we have words that women leaves the house or family, we say wrap the bundle. So that means the woman leaves the family and pursue her own life. And also we just say like wrap the bundle, to move, things like that, or change their lives. So that has many different components, and also there's those dual kind of opposite meanings in making botari and also spreading it as a bed cover. When we spread the bed cover, it is more about the family, couple, love, kids, and comfortable life or stability. But then when it is wrapped, it is in a way signifying a departure, or it can also mean just arrive in the kind of stage of uncertainty in a way. But it's also the site of bed where we get born, love, dream, suffer, and die. So it's also formalistically two-dimensionality into three-dimensional object, but also it's wrapping the life and unfolding it. Before Needlewoman, a Needlewoman performance video project, I did a first video actually called Sewing into Walking, which I considered as a documentary video showing my daily life activities. So I was just installing the bed cover cloth in a valley, and then I collected them, and then at the end I made a bundle and carry and leave. So it was the whole process of making it and finishing it. But when I come back to the editing room and look at it, I discovered that my body almost looked like a needle, symbolic needle that weaves the nature. So I thought this is something that has to be re-investigated and expanded into space and nature rather than just dealing with the textile sewing onto the clothings or textile. So that was the first time that I considered my body as a symbolic needle. That's how I did a series of performance pieces. But at the same time, I considered that as my first video work, although I didn't intend to do it, but because I also realized that camera lens and also the video screen is another way of wrapping the materiality, rapping the world and the people. I started looking at video making and filming as my rapping process. Then I made this A Needle Woman series. First in Tokyo, in Shibuya. Actually, I didn't plan to do it. I didn't know what to do in the beginning. And I just had the urge to do a performance piece without knowing what to do. And maybe in the beginning, I would do walking performance, but I would make decision when to record it. But I couldn't find the right moment to do it because there was no definite moment that I would like to do it. So I was walking in Tokyo, but I couldn't find the right moment. But when I arrived to Shibuya area where hundreds of thousands of people are going and coming, I was so overwhelmed. The energy that I accumulated in my body was just overwhelmed, and I had to stop. And I had to stand there and completely planted myself there. And that was the moment that I realized the meaning of walking, and I thought, this is it. This is what I would do. So I decided to, to film from my backside. And then I stood still for some time. But it was not so easy because in the beginning it was very intense. I was the only woman in the street standing still, looking at all the people. People were passing by. But interestingly, people in Tokyo wouldn't look at me at all, and they would not respond to me. They would just passing by as if I'm a ghost. So I was also stunned by that, but at the same time, I was slowly relieved from the tension from the people. And I was also learning myself how to stand still, how to breathe, not to show my shoulders are moving, breathing with my belly, and making different balances while standing, liberating different parts of my body in my mind, so that after a certain minute, I found myself very peaceful, and I was almost smiling, looking at the horizon of the humanity coming and going, and even feeling compassion towards the humanity, all existing humanity. And it was such an extraordinary experience for me. So after that, I decided to go to all different continents to meet people and people. So that's how I started and visited all 8 different metropolises around the world, doing the same performance. I have not been so interested in what I can give to the world, or what I can show or do for the world, but really interested in my own experience, how I perceive the world, how I witness the reality, and how I transform myself. So if my perception and my being and my transformation is seen by the viewers, I think people might see it, even if I don't say anything, even if I don't act anything. I felt after that needle warmer performance, how important the back is. Because normally we wouldn't pay attention to back, but I know how much it shows depending on the status of yourself. So that could also show. I mean, you don't say anything and you don't shout anything towards someone else, but you can touch. You can touch somebody's mind, and you can reach to the other person to have a certain kind of unity. I think that is very beautiful. The world has been really exhausted by selfish, violent, and unnecessary development of consumerism and all this populism. The world loses the truth of our lives and the truth of the relationship to each other, even with the nature. So I think the COVID served in a way for us to realize that what is the reality of our life and what is the real relationship between ourselves and the others, and also ourselves and the nature. So I think in a way we are in a very important transitional moment that we can recover the humanity